Yeah, my friends, we're living in new times. Australia 2-0 over Turkey. There was a time when Turkey made it to the semifinals, right? Against Brazil. They played two tough matches against Brazil. I remember Ronaldo's toe poke goal. Look how crazy that is, huh? 2-0 Australia. Yeah, today is the day with the most games, right? Because if we count the game that was at 1 in the morning, right? The Australia game. We have 2 in the afternoon, Germany and Curacao, right? The debut of another multi-champion team. Yeah, Ivory Coast and Platita, Ecuador at 8 p.m. Also, a little earlier, right? At 5 p.m., there's Netherlands and Japan. The debut of another team, not a champion, but very famous. The Netherlands team, okay? And also, another team that usually gives a hard time in the World Cup, Sweden against Tunisia at 11 p.m. So, a very busy day, a day with 5 matches. Now, here we go. Hey everyone, greetings red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just joining, please follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications with the bell, and like the video. We're here thanks to Leãozinho, guys. Leão Infusões. Leão, check this out. You can find it. There are up to 25,000 units of Leão. You can see it there. There's a QR code for you to check out so you can understand right now how it works, okay? These are the boxes of Leão Infusões, Leão's teas. Leão, right? Brazilians know very well what Leão is, right? Cariocas, for people from Rio, Métis is a symbol. And you can get Leão's tea, right? Right now at the main supermarkets in the country. And in one of those boxes, you could be winning a prize, right? Among them, several little Leão lions from the promotion. Leave it here near the jersey from the national team, which didn't do very well, right? The first half was good, it was bad. The second half was kind of good. It was better, the second half was much better, but there's still a lot missing. Now, it's important for us to talk about a few things here. Yeah, I wanted to thank our sponsors, Mais Cabelo, the Mais Slim program from Mais Cabelo. You can lose weight in a healthy way with Mais Cabelo. Caravana do Arrudo, you can travel all over the world following sports competitions with Caravana do Arrudo. The WhatsApp contact for the caravan is also in the description and pinned comment. And we're also here to remind you that you can take advantage of our tips channel. Yesterday, several of them hit, right? I'll leave the QR code for Esportiva Bet here so you can register right now. I'll leave the link to our tips channel in the pinned comment and in the description. I'll leave this on screen as a reminder. Play responsibly. It's for 18 plus and for entertainment only, not investment. Here's the QR code. From Esportiva Bet, because every day we're bringing a lot of interesting odds, boosted odds, super odds. They're spectacular. Yesterday, 3 hit. Scotland's win, everyone cashed in. Brazil to score anytime, everyone cashed in. Vini Jr. to score anytime, everyone cashed in. There were several boosted odds. All 3 hit. Man, people crushed it. They crushed it. A lot of people are signing up just to take advantage of this. These new signups are to take advantage of these promotions. So if you want to take advantage and have some fun during the World Cup, always just with your spare change, here's the QR code. I'll leave the Esportiva Bet QR code on the screen. Well, it's 1 in the afternoon here, 2 in the afternoon in Brazil. Germany is playing, as we've already mentioned. Now, one topic that's being talked about a lot is the question from Raiza Simplicio. Raiza Simplicio's question and VSR from TNT's comment. Raiza Simplicio's question from Placar annoyed Ancelotti. She asked what every Brazilian wanted to ask. VSR's comment, right, where he says it's not possible that Hendrick doesn't get on the field and everything, that something is going on. That the press didn't investigate, didn't look into because something is happening. I agree with VSR that something strange is happening. Yeah, but I can't believe it, guys. I can't believe these rumors that are going around, right? There's so much information circulating. I can't believe this could happen to the Brazilian national team. That Hendrick has players who don't like him because Hendrick said something at the training center that didn't go over well, right? that he doesn't like clicks and that didn't go over well. It's not possible, okay? A player being called up for the World Cup, how is that possible? That he has it, knowing he's there with a knife between his teeth, wanting to play, wanting to make a difference, Brazil needing a goal, Brazil needing a striker. It's not possible, right, that a player goes to a World Cup and doesn't get on the field. Ancelotti still gets annoyed by journalist Raiza Simplicio from Placa, who did a great job. Raiza bravely asked the question, always showing professionalism. And I think it's important for us to listen here. Look, she was super respectful, right? And asked Ancelotti why Hendrick doesn't come in. So, do you take Hendrick just so he doesn't play? Then, obviously, what happens? The rumors start, the gossip begins. Yeah, I get that it could all be just rumors, but you know, a lot of people will say where there's smoke, there's fire. What's going on? Why isn't he playing? Let's listen here. You chose not to put Hendrick on the field today, even though Brazil needed a goal.
No, I'm not here to talk about the player, not about the player individually.
I'm not here to talk about the player individually.
What happened was that the team didn't play well in the first half. In the second half, it was better. We had some opportunities. We have to be more accurate.
The team didn't play well individually in the first half. In the second half, they played better. We have to get it right, right? We had some chances. We have to be more accurate. It's tough, right? It's tough, really tough. It was simple. Yesterday, I met Casagrande. I met some people from the football world, and everyone said it was tough. I told them it was Endrick instead of Rafinha. It was so simple. It was Endrick instead of Rafinha. Unbelievable. Yeah, my friends, we're seeing some Flamengo fans complaining about the sale of Rian Roberto. Central da Nação, right, which I've been following for a long time, said the following disgusting sale. Flamengo preferred to give minutes to Cebolinha, who since the end of last year it was known wouldn't stay at Flamengo, rather than give minutes to Rian Roberto, who got really upset and chose to leave because there was no plan for him at Flamengo. My friends, look at this. I'm going to remind you about what happened. Let me give a shout out to Central da Nação. I agree in part, and I don't think it's not even the board's fault. Why? Because what we demand the most is that the coach has autonomy, right? The board shouldn't be telling the football side what to do. But I agree, okay? That's there's a mistake by the coaching staff, maybe even earlier, in giving more minutes to Cebolinha than giving opportunities to Rian Roberto. I often said they didn't give opportunities to youth players here, and they didn't. Very few players got an opportunity. We're seeing some of them start to get a chance now with Leonardo Jardim. In fact, Felipe, in that 8-0 game where he ended up getting fired, he gave an opportunity to the defensive midfielder, right? Luis Felipe. There were some players who got opportunities, but regarding Rian Roberto, the information we have is that the player's own staff wanted guarantees that he would play. They wanted to insist the player be on the field, but that doesn't work, my friends. Wanting to leave, forcing a way out of Flamengo, a club like Flamengo, a huge club like Flamengo, that already tells me a lot. That already tells me a lot. Man, he should be proud to be at Flamengo and wait for the opportunity like many do. But he didn't want to renew. He wanted to leave. He was going to leave for free. Flamengo went there. Is it a bad sale? Was the price much lower than he was worth? Yes, very low. Is he a quality player? Yes. But it's what I say. Many times the staff, the agent acting, the player ends up, going along with it. And this kind of situation ends up happening. And Flamengo, looking for exactly recover something, win something. Flamengo had even invested to buy 20% more of the player. So they had to negotiate. And they ended up choosing to sell to Shakhtar Donetsk, which has the participation of Atlético Paranaense. And Flamengo still secures something, about 10% in a future sale. But it's like I told you, in this case, Flamengo tried to make up for the loss. But it was because of the previous coaching staff. The board gave autonomy, but the players stayed off the field. They were also demanding too much, right? Guys, I have some important news coming in from São Paulo. Yeah, Flamengo probably won't try to sign Marcos Antonio, São Paulo's defensive midfielder, in the next transfer window, okay? In this window that's opening now, in the middle of the year, Flamengo probably won't try again to sign the midfielder. The reason is financial, okay? According to the journalist, I'll tell you who it is. It's Alexander Vieira, okay? The journalist brought this information here. That the reason is financial. Flamengo is not willing to pay the amount that Tricolor wants. Flamengo is working with a budget of 15 to 20 million euros, which we brought here exclusively on the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channels. Around 90 to 120 million reais, even with the sale of Rian, Roberto, and some other sales that should happen. There's João Gomes, from whom Flamengo will get some money. There's Nathan, from whom Flamengo will get some money. Even with all these sales, Flamengo is keeping its purchase budget, right? In this transfer window, Flamengo will have to hold back on upfront payments. Flamengo will have money to sign players in installments, right? Yeah. So, defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder, and center forward. Then Flamengo will choose an attacking midfielder and a center forward, okay? The amount could increase if Flamengo manages to sell a lot, okay? Not what's already planned in the budget, which is a little over 200 million. If it goes over, Flamengo opens up the possibility to sign someone, right? And then there's a chance Flamengo could bring in someone for a higher amount up front. But the information right now coming from São Paulo is that Flamengo has given up on trying to sign Marcos Antonio. Flamengo kept trying, negotiating. They wanted to sign Marcos Antonio. But the player should stay at São Paulo, especially because Flamengo doesn't want to spend too much on a defensive midfielder. Flamengo also tried to sign Danilo from Botafogo, who even played for the national team yesterday. I was at the stadium, I watched Danilo come in. Flamengo, with this financial situation, even with the elimination from the Copa do Brasil, Flamengo loses prize money, loses a lot of money. So Flamengo will have to restructure its financial situation there this year, right? Take these containment measures. And then Flamengo won't have much cash up front. Flamengo has to make a deal, do a study to sign someone, and now it will depend a lot, right? Now, more than ever, it depends on Jose Boto's performance. Now is the time for Jose Boto to show his work and get the signings Flamengo needs. But that's it. Marcos Antonio, so Flamengo is pulling out of the deal. Let's follow along here now, my friends, the mixed zone. At the Brazil game, we were authorized and we talked to Danilo, talked to Alisson, Casemiro spoke there, Fabinho, Bruno Guimarães. Let's check it out.
A bit at the start of the match especially?
No doubt, like I said before, the pressure of the debut is always the hardest game of the competition, where we have to adapt as quickly as possible because we conceded the goal very early. It ends up completely changing the way we play. But we're going to have to adapt because to win the World Cup, you're going to have to suffer. You're going to have to concede goals. You're going to have to come from behind in games. And we have to be prepared for that. Brazil was stronger in attack, but I was also able to help a lot in defense, where everyone did an impeccable job. Like I said before, we have to improve, evolve, because we're going to need to play better to win the competition.
What did you make of Brazil's debut against Morocco? A strong team, right? We know they won the African Championship. They're a very strong team. How do you evaluate this debut? The draw, you don't want to settle for it or win the game, but it wasn't all bad either.
The first half was well below expectations, mostly because of us, because of the way we were on the field, whether in terms of attitude, technical skills, or tactics. We just have to admit there was a lot of nervousness and anxiety, and we ended up stumbling over our own mistakes. In the first half, we were lucky not to be losing by more goals. The game gave us a chance to settle back in, to get better positioned, to secure possession of the ball, and to create the opportunities we had in the second half. And then, yes, a little more hope, a little more confidence for the next match. More finishing.
What do you think is happening? Brazil has improved a lot in the second half. In this specific game, did you see where you were making mistakes? Yeah, we had some changes, of course, but how do you evaluate this change where Brazil played much better soccer in the second half?
Of course, by talking. I think the coach always brings something important to us. During the water break, we were already able to change a few things and improve a bit in the first half. Then in the second half, we had halftime. Yeah, but a debut is a match that I think really affects you mentally. I think we started out a little anxious. And sometimes that's the reason for some mistakes that players of our quality from our team shouldn't make. And then we calmed down and settled into the game. Also the fact that we managed to tie the game, right? It boosted our confidence and we came back strong in the second half. Allison, the start.
The coach worked during the week on all the possibilities, all the scenarios. Everyone was well prepared and already had a good idea of who was going to play or not.
What do you think the team had in the first half? Yes, we talked and we will keep talking throughout this week until the next game. Yeah, for sure we fell way short of what we could have delivered on the field for several reasons. We made a lot of technical mistakes, but there are some positives, like coming from behind on the scoreboard and managing to recover and get the draw. And then we managed to create some chances. When it came time to finish, we couldn't do it in the best way. Yeah, but the starting point is that we can do much better for the next game against a very tough opponent, right? I think that in this journey of ours, it's one of the toughest. It's a team that finished the last World Cup among the semi-finalists. So that shows how tough our group is as well.
Look, Allison, how do you see the communication in the national team's defense? Today, that goal, right, the first goal, the goal scored by Morocco, we saw some mistakes there, right?
Was there any situation we had?
Too many mistakes, right? We lost the ball where we shouldn't have. I think after a series of positioning errors by everyone, I think everyone ended up out of position. There's also the quality of Diaz's final pass and the striker's finish. It was definitely a collective mistake and also individual issues, but we work on that as a team. No one has... the responsibility here is shared. So let's work as a team to fix these mistakes.
Is there more pressure on Friday's game?
The pressure is always the same. When you wear the national team's jersey, you have to win every game. Yeah, I don't think we have any extra pressure because of today's result. Of course, it wasn't what we wanted. But we just have to focus on winning, which is what we plan to do today. Prepare well for this match so we can make it happen.
There are challenges with the heat and similar situations. How did you find the field's condition? Did it have any impact?
Yes, a lot. The field was terrible. I think it was very hot. It got very dry. It ended up getting in our way there, but it was dry for both teams, bad for both. But without a doubt, it wasn't in the best condition. Bruno.
Come back here for the final. Man, you could really feel it. Morocco went more on the attack than our team.
Sorry, Brazil seemed hesitant early in the first half. Morocco pushed their lines forward, right? After the goal, Brazil still felt it a little. Then they managed to get it together on the left side with Rafinha and Vini. Why didn't they get it right in the first half while in midfield?
Well, the level of the game was high, right? Especially considering the quality of the opponent. Yeah, we knew the game was going to be tough, especially because of the quality of the players from Morocco. I think in the first half it was a bit hard for us to get into the game. The second half was a little better. We even had a few more chances. But I think it's always complicated, right? We always want to start off winning. But against the big rival, which was the dream debut, right? But I think we still have a long, long way to go. But...
Casimiro.
What can be improved?
Looking ahead to
the next
game?
Wow, that's tough.
Fabinho, real quick, Fabinho. Fabinho, how much of this result can be attributed to a lack of attention since it's the debut?
I think there are a few things that made the game and the result turn out this way. First, give credit to this Morocco team, which is very good. Yeah, maybe it also had something to do with it being the opener. Maybe the heat, things like that do have an effect. I give a lot of credit to Morocco, which played very well.
But Fabinho, how do you feel about your performance today? You came in during the second half. There are a lot of compliments in Brazil about your performance too. Do you think it was a positive debut for you as well, with support?
Man, in my case, I had a bit of an understanding of what happened in the first half. So it was easier to adapt to what the game required. Yeah, I always try to come in with intensity, help the team with what I'm good at, help protect the defense, stay alert to turnovers, and close down the spaces a bit where Morocco was more dangerous in the first half. I always aim to give my best and help the Brazilian national team. I'll keep trying to do that.
This was the toughest group game, especially as it was our debut against Morocco, who finished fourth last tournament.
We knew it was going to be a really tough game. Morocco is, as you said, the current African champion. They reached the semifinals of the last World Cup. So we knew it was going to be a very tough debut, maybe the toughest game of this first stage of the World Cup. We have a lot of respect for Haiti and Scotland. And we know that we have to prepare well to win these games, because that's Brazil's goal, to win and qualify in first place.
Fabi, move aside.
That's it. Please follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like the video. Thank you for your company. Red and black greetings. This is Flamengo. Thanks.